A year ago, during the early days of winter, I embarked on a weekend hiking trip in a national park not far from home. It was supposed to be the last few days of good weather before the winter cold and snow arrived, so I wanted to make the most of it. I had heard about a trail from a friend that led to a beautiful view of a lake and wasn't crowded, so I decided to give it a try. However, when I arrived at the trailhead, it wasn't what I expected. There were no signs or markings, just a narrow path winding through the trees. Despite the lack of clear indications, I ventured forth, the allure of the wilderness beckoning me forward. The forest along the path was enchanting, teeming with wildlife and the vibrant colors of autumn leaves. About a mile in, I noticed another path leading off into the woods, but I decided to stay on the main trail. As I continued hiking, more of these side trails appeared, leading to seemingly nowhere in particular. It was odd, but I pressed on, hoping to reach the lake before daylight faded. However, after about 3 hours of walking, the main trail abruptly ended, leaving me surrounded by dense forest with no clear path forward. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned to see a man walking in the distance, wearing a tattered jacket and no backpack. He seemed oblivious to my presence as he veered off onto one of the side paths. His appearance and demeanor sent shivers down my spine, and I made sure to avoid being seen as I watched him disappear into the woods. With daylight dwindling, I made the decision to abandon my search for the lake and hike back to my car. However, as I retraced my steps, I found myself at an unfamiliar intersection of paths. Panic began to set in as I realized I may have taken a wrong turn earlier. As I scanned the ground for any signs of my own footprints, I heard the footsteps again, this time closer. I turned to see the same man standing and facing me, his gaze piercing through the darkness. A chill ran down my spine as I hurriedly chose a path away from him. Despite my efforts to lose him, I couldn't shake the feeling of being followed. Even when I took a break and leaned against a tree, the footsteps drew nearer. I held my breath as the man passed by, his eyes fixed on the path ahead. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I ran back the way I came, relying on instinct to guide me through the labyrinth of paths. In the dim moonlight, every shadow seemed to conceal a lurking threat. All I could think about was the sinister intentions of the man I had encountered. His presence in the woods was no coincidence, and I feared what horrors awaited me if he caught up.